Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Well, the festival of lights is finally here. Wishing you all beautiful people out there a very happy Diwali. May this Diwali come up with beautiful beginnings, fresh hopes, bright days and new dreams. In today's video, let's create a very colorful Diwali greeting for your loved ones. The card I made today can be easily mass-produced. Before we get started, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss any of my videos. I will leave a link down in the description box below for all the supplies I have used in today's video. I have lots of color, sparkle and shine for you today, so sit back and enjoy watching the video. Let's begin with this beautiful floral stamp set from Inkadinkado. I love the floral patterns, which can be either used as borders or can be used to create a focal point. But today I will be using these stamp sets for both focal point and to create an edge border for our card. I am using a watercolor cardstock a little bigger than an A2 size card panel. I will be heat embossing the stamp onto the card panel, after which we will be adding a lot of color. You will notice that I stuck some purple tape onto my stamping tool to create a faux edge to align my card. You can totally skip this step, but this step really comes in handy when you have some stamps with irregular shapes which partly hang out of the edge of our cardstock. Once I am satisfied with the position of my stamp, I will close the door of my stamping tool to which the stamp will cling, and in this way I can use the same position of the stamp to create multiple cards. I am using Versamark ink, which is a very sticky watermark ink, perfect for resist and embossing techniques. Before stamping, I will use my anti-static powder tool on the card panel, which will prepare the paper for heat embossing. Then I will go ahead and ink up my stamp using the Versamark ink. Since this is a clear ink, it would be difficult for you to see the inking here on video. But once I put the embossing powder all over the stamped image, you will see how beautiful the image turns out. I will stamp it a couple of times to get a crisp image, then turn the panel over and stamp again on the opposite side of the panel before pouring the embossing powder all over the image. I am using a gold Tinsel embossing powder, which is a specialty mixture of heat stable glitter and gold embossing powder. This will not only give a golden color to our stamped image but will also give it some shine and sparkle. I created two panels at the same time. That's the advantage of having a stamping tool. It makes it so much more easier to create multiple cards at once and saves you a lot of time. Now, let's heat up and melt the embossing powder on both our panels. Now for the fun part. I will be adding lots of color to our panel. For this, we will need a cup of water, paintbrush and some colors. Today, I am using 3 shades of Distress ink refills here: Picked Raspberry, Spice Marmalade and Mustard Seed. You can also use watercolors for this technique, but since I was out of these bright shades of watercolors, I decided to use up my Distress ink reinkers instead. I put a drop of each ink onto my stamping block. I will randomly use the colors to cover the entire card panel. Let's add some water to our watercolor paper. Since I was not able to find my water sprayer to spray water all over the paper, so I just went and splashed some drops of water using my fingers. The main idea here is to saturate the card panel with water, which will make the blending of the inks a lot more easier. I am randomly adding color to the panel. I am not worried about any fine lines or overlaps. The yellow mustard seed ink looks a lot brown in this process, but you will see in the end it's a perfect yellow. I love this combination of pink, orange and yellow. It's a beautiful festive color, perfect for our Diwali cards. You could let this panel dry or heat set the inks, but I wanted a little softer look since I wanted more of the embossed image to show up. So I used a paper towel to blot the wet ink from the card panel. You will notice that the design from the paper towel gets fixed onto the card panel. Well, that was not part of the plan, but I do love the look of it. I repeated the same coloring technique with the second panel. You will see how different both the panels look in the end. The mixing of the colors always give a different and more beautiful result. Again, I blotted off the excess color from the panel using a paper towel to give it a more softer look. Before we fix our panel onto a pre-folded card base, we need to cut our colored card background into an A2 size panel. You can use your paper trimmer to cut the panel, but here I will be using my Sizzix frame die to cut the panel. This one here gives a fun stitched edge to the background panel. Let's look for a matching card base for this panel. I chose this beautiful cardstock which kind of gives a nice contrast to our colored background. I printed out a Happy Diwali sentiment onto the same cardstock and cut it into thin strips and heat embossed the edges using the same Tinsel gold embossing powder. I plan to create a top folding card. I adhered the sentiment strip onto the center of the card panel using a strong double-sided tape, and then using a foam tape, I stuck the entire panel onto a pre-folded card base. The foam tape gives it some dimension. If you're not a big fan of dimensions and prefer single layer cards, you can use strong double-sided tape or any liquid adhesive to adhere the colored background onto the card base. Our card is ready. I paired it with a matching envelope to which again I heat embossed and added a lot of sparkle. Diwali is all about lights and colors, so why not, right? Here's a look at our finished cards. I created 3 cards today. 2 top folding cards and 1 side folding cards. All the stamping and coloring techniques remain the same for all our cards. I hope you enjoyed watching today's video. All the supplies can be found linked in the description box below. I will see you back here with another card project. Thanks again for joining me today. I would love for you to become a subscriber to my channel, and if you do subscribe, make sure to hit the bell icon so that you don't miss the next time I post a video. Here are a couple of other videos that you might be interested in watching. Thanks so much and have a great day. Happy Diwali!